financial problems, elder law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by Thav Gross. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is it's easy to reach a crossroad, but crossing it is what it's all about. And in order to illustrate it, I want to use a case study. Phil and Sandy, ages 54 and 52. They're a fictitious client coming in, and they are at the crossroad, and they are deciding whether or not they can take the steps to cross the road and pursue what they need to do.
There's a lot of road crossing.
I haven't told you what it is, but let me just give you the facts. These are the assets that they have.
There's no chicken involved in this.
No chickens.
Okay.
No chickens crossing the road. Right. I always like that one though. Cash in bank $7,500,000. They have a house, market value $7,500. They have a house $400,000, mortgage $225,000. Their cars are leased. Phil has a 401k of $75,000. Sandy has a 401k $35,000. Their total assets, net of the mortgage, are $292,500. Their liabilities, and this is the biggie, they have $90,000 of credit card debt, miscellaneous other bills just $5,000, so they have total liabilities of $95,000, excluding the mortgage, which we've already set off against the value of the house. Their net worth is $197,500. If you excluded their 401k and their IRA, they have $87,500 of net worth, which we do that analysis because we know in bankruptcy you can't get the IRAs and the 401ks. So it's just a thing, it's just something you want to keep in mind.
Translation. When you file a bankruptcy, you're entitled to keep your IRA and your 401k.
I like that translation.
Your creditors cannot attach it or get to it, nor can a trustee.
Only the IRS if you owe taxes.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Monthly cash flow. They're making $120,000 annually, $10,000 a month. I've deducted $20,000 annually for taxes, credit card payments. They're paying 2.5% of the $90,000 debt per month, which is $2,250 a month. That's $27,000 a year on the credit card payments.
So the watchers don't misunderstand. 2.5% is a standard amount for your minimum monthly payment on all or most credit cards. Some of them might be a little bit lower, some might be a little bit more, but 2.5% is the normal.
If you go pick up a credit card and you look at the minimum monthly payment, chances are if you take 5 cards, 3 of them are going to be right at 2.5%. It'd be a fun test for you to take. Their mortgage payment, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, $1,850 a month, so that's $22,200 a year. Their 2 car payments on the 2 leases are $650. Gas and insurance, I put at $400. Utilities, including cell phones, $600. Food and entertainment, $1,250. Miscellaneous, $1,000. Total expenses, $9,666 per month. Their net positive cash is $333 a month, which is $4,000 a year. They're not in a situation where their expenses exceed their liabilities.
However, there's a situation that the $90,000 of credit card debt is barely going to be a dent at payments of 2.5%.
Absolutely. It's never, well, the credit card debt is never going to go away, because what happens in this situation, when all of your money goes to, it's called the credit, what's it called, Brian?
The credit card trap.
When all of your disposable excess money goes to making the credit card payments, you have no cash other than $333 to buy anything else.
And
so
if you're like,
when you buy something,
if you're like most people, you spend 99.99% of everything you earn every single paycheck, and you are waiting for your next paycheck on the last day before that paycheck. In other words, there's nothing in the bank.
There's nothing in the bank.
So there's nothing to handle an emergency. When the furnace goes out, the roof needs to be replaced, etc.
True.
So where do you get the money from?
credit cards.
Right.
And the bottom line is this: the credit card balances go down when you make the payment, but then you charge on the card during the month and they go back up. They never go down. So here's where Phil and Sandy are using an analysis of right now they're at 54 and 52. I want to look at where are they going to be when they're 74 and 72. And I'm thinking this. They're going to continue making their $120,000 a year up until that age, and then they have to be able to realistically say retirement's coming.
And because of this scenario, they're not putting money into their 401k or an IRA.
No, because there's
can't.
all they have is $333 a month. Or maybe they are. Let's say you saved at $333 a month at 7% interest. In 10 years, it's $57,639. In 20 years, it's $173,472. So you might say, well, okay, I got $173,472 in 20 years. Here's the problem. In 20 years, the mortgage balance is still going to be about $44,000. They'll have about 3 years still to pay on their mortgage, and they still have $90,000 of credit card debt. If Sandy's going to live to 95, 23 more years, how much money is she going to have available to her? First, she has to pay off the credit card debt because she's not going to have the income to make the payments. That means she's going to not have $173,000. She's going to have $83,472. You divide that by 23 years. That's $3,629 a year. She has $302 to use from her savings, factoring out interest for a minute, plus Social Security. That is not enough money to retire with.
And that's assuming a perfect world where Brian alluded to that there were no furnaces that went out, there were no kids, there were no grandkids, there were no vacations, none of that.
And
so
here's-
it's not
no
even a
presents
realistic
to
And
the
here's the
number.
real kicker. Do you know how much they paid over the 20 years before they decided to pay off their debt?
But you're talking about the interest payments?
No, the credit card debt.
How much were the payments?
$444,000.
That's a nice round number, 444. We're going to take a break. When we come back from the break, we're going to look at the alternative that is in the hands of Phil and Sandy. They have the way to cross the road to totally turn this around. When we come back, we're going to show you how.
It's devastating, the effects of debt and foreclosure on you and your family. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem. Some fear the word bankruptcy, but in reality, it's a strategy to save your home and to eliminate debt. If you're in financial trouble, timing is critical. You need to take action now. We've been saving homes and eliminating debt for over 33 years.
Call Fav Gross 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Fav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Fav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Fav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Fav Gross today, 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Fav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem. All right, welcome back. All right, so here's the situation for Phil and Sandy. If they just go the way the banks want them to go, keep making those minimum payments every month on the $90,000 of credit card debt, Sandy's going to have a retirement income of $302 a month plus her Social Security, and that's it, assuming she lives to 95. Goes beyond that, she's going to have less. Here's the question. If they get rid of the credit card debt and everything else stays constant, what's the difference? Right off the bat, easy number. We had $333 of savings. Add the $22.50 a month they're giving to the credit card companies. Now their positive monthly cash flow is $25.93 a month. Let's just run the same numbers. If they are able to invest that money and earn 7% on it, in 10 years, they have $448,810. In 20 years, they have $1,350,766.
You know, Ken, that's a lot of money. But do you know what's still a lot of money? If they just take that money, if they were earning no interest, you know how much it would be?
I could multiply it on the calculator, but we're not allowed to use cell phones during the show.
It's a calculator.
No cell phones at the table.
$622,230, saving the same $2,593
in 20 years.
In 20 years at 0%.
At zero. Okay, good number. Good number.
It's still a huge amount of money that they
All right, so you can
don't have to
keep
pay to the
phone
credit cards.
for one more segment.
Okay.
then. And then we're gonna. But all right, let's use my number with the $1,350,000. I like that number. Sandy lives to 95, 23 more years. Let's divide the $1,350,766 by 23. We've already gotten rid of the credit card debt. She then has $58,728 a year. That's $4,894 a month to live on. And I'm not generating any interest on the remainder of the $1,350,000 during this 20-year period. So she'd have more money than that. So here's the situation. They're making it month to month for years, Phil and Sandy. They've been paying all this interest. Right now, today, at 54 and 52, they've got $7,500 in savings, and they have modest IRAs and 401ks. They have virtually saved nothing, even though they're making $120,000 a year. Why? It's because, as we were talking about before, they're in the credit card trap. What's the most important thing Phil and Sandy has to realize? What do you think it is? Or you want me to tell you what it is? You got a choice.
They have to get rid of the debt.
You're right. They're squandering their retirement, is how I would look at it. They have the power to change it, and if they just continue on month to month like they have been, they're going to get to be 75, and they're not going to have a retirement, and then they're going to say, I should have listened when I was told to do something at 54 and 52, and I watched that episode of Law and Reality, but I ignored them.
Recap here for a second. They're doing just fine. They're paying all their bills. They're living well. They're eating. They're sleeping. They're not feeling troubled.
They're the dream come true to the banking industry.
They're just spending their retirement while they're still working.
20% interest on $90,000, $18,000 a year in juice. The credit card debt never goes away, and instead they could be putting that money away in savings and building up a retirement. So how do they fix the problem? How do they get rid of the credit card debt? What's the downside to doing it? They're going to take a short-term hit in their credit score. They have to get over the paranoia that the world does not stop if you don't pay a credit card bill. And that's a hard one for everybody. You're so accustomed to making that payment on time, and God forbid you should be a day late and the phone call rings and they want to charge you a late fee and your credit score is going to get hurt. They got to get over that. They have to take some phone calls at the beginning when the credit card companies start calling and saying, how come you're not paying your bill? And they're venturing into the unknown. So they're scared. What's the upside? They secure their future for retirement.
$1.3 million. That's the upside.
Absolutely. They also learn that life does not stop when you don't make a credit card payment. Nothing happens. And number 3, I think venturing into the unknown is a good thing. Sometimes you have to take a little risk, do things outside the box, and you end up being younger as a result of it.
And one of the things that we're seeing here is just they're not making a personal decision. They're making a business decision.
And it's a smart decision.
And it is a smart
In their case,
decision.
it's the only decision. How do they get rid of this debt? Brian, is this a Chapter 7 case?
No, in this case, they make far too much. They have far too much income. They have far too much money left over. So they're neither a Chapter 7, nor are
What
they
about Chapter 13?
Nor would I recommend a Chapter
Now,
13.
13 is where you pay back over 60 months, right?
Yeah, structured in this case.
Could they
because they're-
file a Chapter 13?
They could, and they, because of the income and the available
$22.50 a
money
month.
that's left over, they would be able to repay their creditors in full in 5 years, which would be at 0% interest, which isn't a bad deal.
Better.
But there's a better deal.
Yeah, it's not it's better than paying them over the next 20 years and still having $90,000 worth of credit card debt.
Right.
But we have a program
I'd
and
rather-
a method that will get them out of the debt in 2 years rather than
Or less.
5
Or less.
or
yeah.
less.
Debt
Right.
resolution.
Right.
It is the solution.
What is debt resolution?
Well, debt resolution is the art of negotiating a settlement with the creditor for less than face value of the amount of the debt owed.
All right, let me say it a different way. It is a system that we've developed at Thav Gross where we use the minimum payments. In Phil and Sandy's case, $22.50 a month. We use those minimum payments to settle the debt over a 14 to 24 month period, and we make sure it covers the debt, the attorney costs, and any tax consequences. Otherwise, we don't start the program. But when it works, at the end of that period, 14 to 24 months, you are debt-free. When we come back from the break, we're going to walk through the mechanics of how debt resolution will save Sandy and Phil for their retirement.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you're approaching retirement and don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your investments, and your savings. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Putting a solid strategy in place with Samasco Law legally protects your assets as well as your wishes. Since a will doesn't cover you medically or financially, Samasco Law goes beyond ordinary asset management protection to safeguard everything you have.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Thav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
It's devastating, the effects of debt and foreclosure on you and your family. There is a solution.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem. Some fear the word bankruptcy, but in reality, it's a strategy to save your home and to eliminate debt. If you're in financial trouble, timing is critical. You need to take action now.
We've been saving homes and eliminating debt for over 33 years.
Call Fav Gross 888-235-HELP.
All right, welcome back. Before we go to the mechanics of how Phil and Sandy get rid of this $90,000 of credit card debt using debt resolution, I have to do announcements. I want to welcome our Flint viewers, Fox 66. Flint office is open and up and running for Thav Gross.
Serving bottled water.
Of course. And we serve bottled water even at our office in Bingham Farms as well. The Thav Gross website has been redone and is there. You can sign up for free consultations and get free information and reports anytime. Remind our listeners or our watchers to listen to us as well. We're on Tuesdays, noon to 1, Law and Reality Live with Cliff Russell on WCHB 1200 AM, 99.9 FM. And on Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on WDFM, 11:30 a.m. That's Law and Reality, Dealing with Reality. 2 seminars coming up. The Debt-Free Commitment, Wednesday, February 24, 2016 at our offices in Bingham Farms. Going through all the issues we have to get rid of debt so that we start taking that money and putting it in the bank, saving it. To me, it's not about debt elimination. It's about changing your situation so you take a negative and turn it into a positive. We take the payments you're using to pay on your debt and we turn it into savings so you have something to retire with. We also have a seminar coming up, Your Legal and Medical Issues When You're Older, Wednesday, March 9th. That's going to be from 6 to 7:30 in Bingham Farms. Pat Simasko will be speaking on elder law issues, and I will be speaking on estate planning, and Brian will be talking on debt aspects with respect to the elderly. Sign up for that at lawandreality.com, or you can call for both seminars, 888-235-HELP. We have free reports on the website. We have a new report for business formation and how to obtain loans and grants for small business in Michigan. We also have the Retiree's Guide to Social Security from Pat Simasko and How to Save Your Home with Regulation X, The Hidden Secrets. These are all free reports available on both the Thav Gross website and the Law and Reality website. You just go, click the link, and the report's emailed right to you. I want to thank our sponsors, Thav Gross and also Simasko Law. Now, back to Phil and Sandy.
Ken, you're getting into our debt resolution program, and right before the break, we talked about whether a Chapter 13 was viable, and I want to make sure that I understand and the viewers understand. Brian said yes, a 13, which is a plan, is an option that could work in this scenario. It may not be the best option if you look at the dollars and cents, but I want to ask Brian that even if you start on a debt resolution and something happens, is that Chapter 13, is it never available again?
Well, that's the beauty of it. Everybody likes to have a safety net. We don't just have a plan A. We have a plan B and a plan C, because while we would like everything to go perfectly the way we plan it out, the world doesn't always happen that way. So you need to know that you have more than one solution to solve your problem. And that is a beautiful thing, knowing that if you can't do one, there's another. And if you can't do another,
Right,
there's another.
But we're running out of time. I want to get to the mechanics of the program. But they're good points. We always have what we call the backup plan.
So you want to talk about the better plan?
Sometimes we have the back to the backup.
You want to talk about the better plan?
Yeah,
Let's
I want to
do
talk
it.
about the better plan.
Get into it.
Why is this the better plan? Because the goal is to shed the debt at the least cost and in the fastest possible way. That Chapter 13 is going to take 5 years. This will take, as you will see with Sandy and Phil, it'll take 2 years.
I want to ask Jenny a question, though. Some of this is possibly going to have tax consequences, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm scared of the IRS more than I'm scared of Visa and MasterCard. What's going to happen with this tax liability? Ken pointed out it could be $10,000, $12,000 on settling the debt.
Well, what it is
what am I going to be able to do with the IRS?
Well, the IRS is going to issue a 1099-C, which is cancellation of indebtedness for the portion of the credit card debt that you don't pay. That is going to be taxable for Phil and Sandy because they don't meet the insolvency criteria.
So let me put this in a framework so that we have it, and we're going to include the tax consequences as well. Jenny's making this point. Same with you, Brian. If we settle a debt with Bank of America for 50, and we owe them 50,000, and we settle for 20, they're going to issue a 1099 for $30,000. That's ordinary income. It's taxable to you unless you fit within an exception. There's 3 exceptions: cancellation of indebtedness as a result of a bankruptcy, principal residence on a short sale of a home, which doesn't apply, or the insolvency rule, which means if you have more debt If you're negative, if your liabilities exceed your assets after the canceled debt, you're excluded from tax. That doesn't apply in the case of Phil and Sandy because they have assets. However, even with the tax consequences, it's going to work for them. When you settle $90,000 of debt, we're going to settle it in the range somewhere between 32 and 42%. And there's a chart up here illustrating that, because we don't know what settlements we'll make with each company. They're on a case-by-case basis. We negotiate them. But we can tell you on 90,000, the range is going to be between 32 and 42%. The legal cost to settle $90,000 of debt is a flat 8.5% of the debt, which is $76.50. And we take that over time, over the course of the plan, depending on the client's ability to pay. There's no monthly fees, there's no hidden costs. If you get sued in the middle of the case, we defend the lawsuit for free because we're lawyers, not like when you see these debt settlement companies. It's all a fixed plan.
And you know those debt settlement companies charge between 15 and 18% of the debt on average. We only charge 8.5%.
And they don't settle at 32 or 42%, they settle at 50%.
And they don't represent you if you get sued.
Absolutely. Tax consequences, if you settle at 32%, the tax consequences on that would be around $12,240 using a 20% tax rate, because that's what we built into the plan when we did the analysis.
So you're taxed on the amount of the discount, the negotiation.
Absolutely.
Got it.
But do I have to pay that right away, Jenny?
It would be
or what can I do?
Well, you can always work out a payment plan on that. Because it's under $50,000, you can pay it over 72 months.
Right. So the total cost when we analyze this for Phil and Sandy, whether 32% or 42%, using the $22.50 a month, we're going to have them out of debt in somewhere between 21 and 24 months, covering the tax cost, covering the legal cost, done. At that point, they have no more payments of $22.50 a month to make to the credit card companies or anyone else.
Do you have a rule of thumb on that, Ken? Like
24 months is our maximum goal when we analyze it. Otherwise, we start thinking that it's better off to be in a Chapter 13 plan.
Got it.
But here's the bottom line for Sandy. They can continue in Phil. They can continue paying $22.50 a month for 24 to 24 months, eliminate the debt, and have $1.35 million in savings to retire with, and have a happy retirement and a happy life. Or they can do what the banks want them to do, continue paying $22.50 a month until they're retired, leaving them $173,452 in savings, but they have to pay the $92,000 of credit card debt because at that point they have no more income because in their retirement, and they have a miserable retirement.
So 2 years, they're done.
Phil and Sandy are the best possible clients that we can help. We can make them change their entire retirement prospect without doing anything other than applying common good business sense. We'll be back next week. Thanks for watching. Have a good week.